Beyond the Gates spoilers. Each for the next 2 weeks, January 19th to 30, indicate some interesting moments in Fairmont Crest. Bill Hamilton and Thomas Navarro cook up a scheme, while Isaiah Hawthorne has a new venture, and Naomi Hawthorne's BRCA secret is spilled. During the week of January 19th to 23, Beyond the Gates spoilers suggest that Naomi will continue to lie to her family about her BRCA test results. Everyone was so thrilled during the Friday, January 16th episode when Chelsea Hamilton's test results came out clear that it was clear when Naomi got hers, she lied about having the BRCA gene just to ease everyone's mind. From the sounds of it, Naomi will continue to fib over the next 5 days ahead and keep this secret tight from her family and husband, Jacob Hawthorne. With that said, there's a good chance she might confide in Ashley Morgan, or the nurse learns about it in other ways, during the week of January 26-30. After all, her new boyfriend, Grayson Perez, is the lab technician who organized Naomi and Chelsea's tests. Will he slip by accident? Thanks to HIPAA, both Grayson and Ashley would need to keep this information to themselves. Meanwhile, Naomi's husband, Jacob, will deal with some drama during the week of January 19-23. He'll get into it with his dad, Police Chief Elon Hawthorne, and Detective Marcel Malone. The three will probably fight about a new case Jacob wants to be on, and by the end of the week, Marcel and Elon will lose this battle as Jacob will start an undercover case. With that said, is this an investigation against Joey Armstrong? The casino owner will have some interesting intel he relays to Elon. During the week of January 26-30, Jacob will likely continue his case. But will he land in any danger? Beyond the Gate, spoilers for the week of January 19-23, imply that Nicole Dupree will be shocked by a scandalous secret Vanessa McBride tells her. Is this about Dr. Kial Rollins? He'll be a part of storylines this coming week, and the blonde madame will proposition the good doctor at some point. But Vanessa is gaga over her boyfriend Joey, so it's unlikely that she hits on him, so will she propose something for her bestie? Nicole is dating Dr. Carlton Fitzgerald, but not married to him, or even exclusive. Still, as the days go by, someone will accost Vanessa. So if the blonde makes matchmaking hints to Kial, Nicole might be the one who ambushes her friend. Will Kial and Nicole go out on a date during the week of January 26-30, or even do something more before then? Only time will tell. Across town, Beyond the Gates spoilers hint that 2 couples will kick up their romances a notch, so it's easy to see Ted Richardson and Shanice Johnson will be one of those duos. After all, they almost did the deed during the Friday, January 16th episode, but Ted stopped as he wanted things to be special between them, and not just a romp in his work office. As the week of January 19th-23 comes to an end, Leslie Tomas will confront Shanice about her teddy bear. So will Leslie catch wind of the progression of their relationship? Or will she guess if she sees the two interact? Plus, who's the second couple who will move their romance to the next level? Across town, Danny Dupree will open up to her ex-husband, Bill, during the week of January 19th-23 and then make a stunning move. Will she kiss him or do more? Speaking of Bill, his wife, Hayley Hamilton, will get cornered at some point this coming week. Tomas overheard her talking to Randy Parker, her cousin and co-conspirator, about their #Kill Bill scheme during the week of January 12-16. Will Toms call Hayley out on this? With that said, as the weekend hits, Bill will pay for Tomas's silence. Will the young attorney run to his boss and spill what he knows? If Bill hears about Hayley's plan, he'll have a scheme of his own that he wants to unleash, so fans will likely see Bill and Tomas conspire during the week of January 26-30 to ensure Hayley goes down. Back to Danny, she and Pamela Curtis will have their eye on someone during the week of January 19-23, and it sounds like they believe Isaiah Hawthorne could be the next big thing in the modeling world. During the week of January 26-30, the ladies will try to convince Isaiah to sign up with their agency, but will he entertain the idea or shut them down? If he does shut them down, will the ladies be persistent? Beyond the Gates spoilers for the Monday, January 19th. Episode note, the soap will present Inside the Gates, a special that will gather the cast in a roundtable setting as they discuss pivotal moments from Season 1. It'll be a great chance for OG fans to get a sneak peek into the insights of their favorite characters from the people who play them, and provide an opportunity for new fans to catch up on storylines. Beyond the Gates spoilers for the week of January 9th to 23 indicate some major moments in Fairmont Crest. Naomi Hawthorne will keep a secret, while Danny Dupree makes a stunning move on Bill Hamilton, and Tomas Navarro stays hush-hush. Find out more about what will go down on the CBS soap below. Beyond the Gates spoilers. This is for the Monday, January 19th. Ed Show revealed that the show will do something a little different. Instead of airing a regular episode, the daytime drama will pull back the curtain and broadcast a roundtable discussion with the BTG cast. From Clifton Davis to Carla Mosley, Osai, Tamara Tooney, and others, the actors and actresses who make up the soap will sit down to talk about their characters and storylines, reliving every spicy moment from their first year, and do a deep dive into each respective arc. It'll be a great opportunity for old fans to reminisce and new fans to catch up on things. Meanwhile, Beyond the Gates spoilers for the week of January 19 to 23 imply that Naomi will keep a secret. It sounds like she's lying about her BRCA test results so as not to hurt her family, and fans could sense this at the close of the Friday, January 16th episode. While everyone will still be gathered at the country club during the Tuesday, January 20th episode, things will be awkward, and it looks like for the rest of the week, Naomi will continue to tell everyone she doesn't have the genetic marker that causes breast cancer. With that said, will she fill Jacob Hawthorne in? Will she confide in Ashley Morgan? Only time will tell. Speaking of Jacob, he'll have a massive encounter with Detective Marcel Malone and his father, Police Chief Elon Hawthorne. Whatever the reason for that, by the time the weekend hits, Jacob will be placed on an undercover job. Will he fight the two police vets to get this case? In other news, Chelsea Hamilton's new lease on life will rub her girlfriend, Dr. Madison Montgomery, the wrong way. Is there more trouble in paradise for these two? Across town, Vanessa McBride will shock Nicole Dupree with a scandalous secret. Does this have to do with Dr. Kial Rollins? It just may, as he'll be on canvas next week, and Vanessa will proposition the good doctor as the days go by. Could Vanessa attempt to play matchmaker with Kial and Nicole? The blonde will get accosted during the week of January 19th, so Nicole may confront her bestie for crossing a line. Elsewhere, Joey Armstrong will put Leslie Thomas in her place. If anyone can do this, Joey can, right? Joey will be a busy bee next week, as he also gives Elon some intel. What could this be about? Beyond the Gates spoilers for the midweek promise that two couples will take their relationships to the next level. So could Ted Richardson and Shanice Johnson do the deed? They just might, as Leslie will confront Shanice about Ted as the weekend hits. Ted and Shanice stopped making out in his office during the January 16th episode because he respected her and wanted to make it special. They planned a date, so there's a good chance the two will hit the sheets. If Shanice and Ted are one couple, who would the other couple be? While on the topic of Ted, he and Catherine, Kat Richardson, will fight once again about Eva Thomas. Dandre fans will be sad to hear that Danny will open up to Bill and then make a move that will shock everyone. What kind of move will she make on her ex? Here's hoping it's not a romantic one. While on the topic of Bill, someone will corner his wife, Hayley Hamilton. Tomas overheard a very incriminating conversation she was having with Randy Parker, her cousin and co-conspirator, during the week of January 12-16. Will Tomas confront her about it? Hayley's days might be numbered, as Bill will pay for Tomas's silence. Will the young attorney run to his boss with the suspicions he has? Over at the Richardson-Smith household, Martin Richardson and Bradley Smitty Smith will be caught off guard by Tyrell Richardson's change of heart. While there was a time he didn't want to go to the cotillion, a beloved Dupree family tradition, now that Jessica wants him to be her escort, he's all in. Back to Danny. She won't only be making surprise moves on Bill, she and Pamela Curtis will have their eye on someone new in Fairmont Crest. Isaiah Hawthorne. Do they think he has model potential? Many fans do. Lastly, Anita will lean on Sharon Winger. Anita is struggling with chemo right now. so it'll be nice for her to get some support from an old friend. After airing a special MLK Day episode of Beyond the Gates, the show returns with a new episode on Tuesday, January 20th. The weekly spoilers focus on Joey and Leslie, who are finding their all-star team-up challenging. Joey lays down the law with his sudden business partner. Joey entered into this business partnership with Leslie because it was what Vanessa wanted. But as long as he's using his deep pockets to help fund this free clinic, he has conditions that must be met. Call it guilt or another form of deflection, but Joey wants the clinic to honor Vanessa's late husband, Dr. Doug McBride. However, Leslie has already named the clinic after herself. She didn't come up with the idea of the free clinic, but she's acting like she did. She's willing to dedicate a room to Doug, but that's about as far as her generosity goes. Joey has already threatened Leslie, but he's about to make sure she knows he's serious about his demands. Look for the corrupt casino owner to put Leslie in her place. How will Leslie react? She doesn't scare easily. Meanwhile, Vanessa shocks Nicole with scandalous information. Is this about Leslie, Ted and Shanice, or someone else? The Hamiltons experience an awkward celebration. It's unsurprising, given that Chelsea's test results came back negative. However, Naomi may have lied about hers. If that is what happened, how long will she be able to keep up the charade? And we also have to remember that if this celebration involves all the Hamiltons, including Hayley, then the atmosphere will most likely be simmering with tension, double if Andre is part of the festivities. He doesn't appreciate Bill's continued presence in every aspect of Danny's life. Finally, Chelsea may not carry the BRCA gene, but this close call has shaken her up. As a result, she's looking at things through a different lens, and this will undoubtedly affect her relationship, according to the teasers. Chelsea's new lease on life causes friction with Madison. The Beyond the Gates Spoilers Weekly Update for January 19th to 23 features Jacob going undercover. Vanessa hits a bump in the road when she's accosted. Hayley feels cornered. Who or what makes her feel that way? Monday, January 12th, episode number 207. The Dupree sisters got their test results. Nicole's BRCA gene test came back negative, while Danny's was positive, which is why Nicole comforted Danny while feeling a whole lot of guilt. Once Bill heard the news, he raced over to Danny's place to comfort her. Andre eventually had to draw a line in the sand and let Bill know that comforting Danny was his job now, as Danny's husband. Naomi turned to Ashley for help scheduling her and Chelsea's BRCA gene tests. Ted and Carlton had a long overdue chat, during which Ted admitted to his friend that he was moving on from Nicole. While it still hurt to see his business partner and his longtime friend with his ex-wife, he knew that Carlton was good for Nicole. Tuesday, January 13th, episode number 208. Anita returned home from chemo and immediately discovered that Vernon had lied to her. Their daughters had learned the results of their BRCA gene tests. Nicole was negative and Danny was positive. Anita couldn't wait. She headed straight over to Danny's, where she comforted and consoled her daughter. She also apologized for passing on the gene. Danny knew she had nothing to apologize for. The Duprees rallied around Danny while Nicole spiraled. Uncharacteristically, she got drunk, and Carlton took care of her. Meanwhile, Jacob and Elon had a heart-to-heart, during which Jacob opened up to his father about what was going on with Naomi's family. Naomi played matchmaker of sorts after Ashley accepted a date with lab tech Grayson Perez. Thanks to Naomi, coffee became a double date at Uptown. Although Ashley and Grayson flirted over a drink, they then left to go back to her place. Wednesday, January 14th, episode number 209. After he threatened Leslie, Joey consulted with Bill on a legal matter, the free clinic he planned on funding with Ms. Tomas. Meanwhile, Hayley continued to enact her deadly plan. She added some of that toxic concoction to herbal tea and encouraged Bill to drink it. Speaking of toxic and deadly, Leslie and Marcel had some fun in her hotel room. It involved her playing around with his gun before they got down to business. Vanessa helped Nicole nurse her hangover while Pamela showed up for her bestie at the country club. She supported Danny, who told her about her mom and her own positive BRCA gene test results. Thursday, January 15th, episode number 210. Danny visited Bill at his office to thank him for his support for her and their daughters. Hayley expressed her displeasure at Danny hugging her husband, and a minor clash ensued. Ted revealed the details of the crisis the Duprees were experiencing to Eva. He suggested that maybe this could be a good way for her to offer support to Kat, but he also knew how Kat treated her. Eva tried, and Kat basically told her where to go. Meanwhile, Kat and Samantha showed up at their grandmother's to support her, and Anita overdid it. She reached her limit. Jessica had a proposition for Tyrell. If she had to be part of this whole cotillion business, she wanted him to be her escort. Ashley updated Naomi and Shanice about her date with Grayson. It went well after she left Uptown. Friday, January 16th, episode number 211. Chelsea had major news to share with her family. She got her test results back. She was not a carrier of the BRCA gene. Naomi decided she wanted to focus on Chelsea's good news rather than find out hers. She felt pressured by Jacob, and when she finally checked her results, she said there was nothing to worry about, but she gave off a weird vibe. She may have lied. After Eva's clash with Kat, Isaiah comforted Eva. Things heated up between Ted and Shanice in his hospital office, but they put a stop to it. Ted felt he wanted to make this special, so he asked her out to dinner. As for Derek, he spotted Ashley flirting with Grayson and didn't like what he saw. He called up Ashley's mom and met her out. He broke the news that Ashley was already seeing someone, which didn't make her happy. Jan rushed over to the hospital, where she confronted Ashley about why she hadn't told her she was seeing someone. Here are your spoilers for Beyond the Gates on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Did everyone enjoy the special look behind the gates? It's time to dive right back into their lives and look at Tuesday. In Tuesday's episode, the Hamiltons have an awkward celebration. After Bill and Andre had their little talk, I couldn't imagine a scene where there wasn't an awkward and cringy elephant in the room. What do the Hamiltons have to celebrate anyway? In Tuesday's episode, Joey puts Leslie in her place. That's gotta be the one thing I always appreciate about Joey Armstrong. He is unapologetically himself, and he's not scared of anyone on the show. Not a Dupree nor Leslie. Boundaries need to be set with Leslie, and Joey will do it. In Tuesday's episode, Vanessa shocks Nicole with some scandalous info. At this point, I'm not sure how Vanessa would shock anyone with anything scandalous. Her past is scandal, as is her life. Maybe this will be the much-needed distraction for Nicole from the BRCA gene discovery and the health crisis her mom is going through. Things are definitely changing for the Hamilton girls. In Tuesday's episode, Chelsea's new lease on life causes friction with Madison. Will Madison think Chelsea wants changes in all areas of her life? New health kick? New girlfriend? Madison doesn't need to worry about that, as she's absolutely smitten. It's the other Hamilton sister that people should be worrying about, especially Jacob. Naomi is a cause for concern this week, and a quick tease of why. Okay then, you dragged it out of me. On Wednesday, Naomi hides her new normal from her entire family. Make sure to check out The Scoop and the next week's sneak peek for a deeper look into what's to come this week and what you have to look forward to from your favorite characters and not-so-favorite characters in the DMV. Are y'all ready to go beyond the gates? This past week, Nicole channeled her daughter. Hayley couldn't decide if she was jealous of Danny or if she wanted Bill dead. Eva found herself in storyline purgatory, and Ashley got experimented on by a lab tech. Meanwhile, Leslie liked Marcel's concealed weapon, while Anita realized that chemo ain't no joke, and Naomi participated in a cover-up so big it rivaled Epstein. Let's fill up those two scoops and find out what happened inside and outside the gates of Fairmont Crest. Nicole did Danny right this week, snuggling with her sis as she reeled over the news that she got the cancer-amplifying BRCA gene variant from her mom. The shrink remembered when she broke her arm falling off a horse as a 10-year-old. A time Danny was so upset she didn't also have a cast, young Nicole made her one in a show of solidarity. "Oh," Nicole said. "If only some cardboard and some scotch tape could be of help now." Danny didn't want Nicole feeling guilty for winning the genetic lottery, as it were, which Danny hadn't. But I guess there wasn't any scotch tape in the house, because it didn't stick. Nicole went the rather odd route of inviting Carlton up to Uptown to watch her down Long Island iced teas like her name was Lipton. which would have been a unique twist for the usually in-control head doctor if Kat hadn't done the exact same thing the week before in her refusal to even test for the gene mutation. Wait, what? Did Nicole hear about Kat boogieing with the bottle and decide she wanted to get on that particular dance floor herself? And what is it with the Dupree women turning to booze to handle their problems? First Danny, then Kat, now Nicole? I'd almost be more worried about there being a genetic predisposition toward alcoholism than any of them carrying broken BRCA, since that's certainly not a guarantee of cancer. Strange writing choice, having all three of these women drown their sorrows. It's also not the greatest message. Did it give Nicole a chance to let go her inhibitions and act out a little bit? Sure, but she didn't come across like one of those funny drunks. No, I think Nick is probably a mean drunk. She bitched at Carlton, who was just sitting there, trying to cuck him for supposedly not being able to deal with the real her. Once Carlton managed to get Nicole home safely, she demanded that he leave, again thinking he found her true self repulsive. There are lots of y'all out there who don't like Nicole with Carlton, don't like Carlton, period, and think Carlton is up to something. How can you guys conclude that when dude tucked Nicole in after she passed out and left her a self-care tray to help with her inevitable hangover? Carlton deserved a prize for putting up with Nicole's antics that night. Plus, I think the fact that he didn't run off shows he really cares about her. It was only Vanessa, however, who clued in that Nicole was putting herself through some severe survivor guilt, which is a legitimate reaction, given Nicole was spared Anita and Danny's genetic mutation. Good on Van for telling her BFF to kick that socket to the curb. But how about her trying to get Nicole and Carlton to join her and Joey on a double date, though? Heifer will do anything to legitimize her relationship with the man she knows deep down can't be legitimized, won't she? Talk about the times a-changin'. Even a couple of months ago, Danny would have thrilled to find Bill running up to her bedroom to support her after she tested positive for the Boo Boo brand of burqa. But now, Danny is settled enough into her marriage to Andre that she told the egocentric Bill it wasn't his place to offer his broad shoulders for her to lean on. There wasn't anything he could do about the sitch, besides. "Don't bet on it, beautiful," Bill swaggered. This while Andre was downstairs, having come home to find Nicole warning him that Danny's first husband had burst in to be Danny's one-man support system. Andre didn't like that, but kept himself composed as he went to the boudoir where Bill was hugging on his wife, next to his own marital bed. If photographer Andre had had flash cubes handy, he would have blinded Bill with them right then and there. Instead, Andre managed to get Bill into more neutral territory and spat that he'd better not see Bill all over Danny again like one of his designer suits. Bill basically dared Andre to say that was a threat, so Andre clapped back, "I don't think I stuttered, counselor." Great stuff. Andre also reminded Bill that he had been a crappy husband to Danny, so trying to be a great ex-husband wasn't going to cut it either. It's about time Andre took a harder stand with Bill, though I don't think this first one is necessarily going to stop our fixer. Maybe if Andre finds out Hayley is poisoning his rival, he might jump on board with that. And how about Hayley, though? Or at least fantasy Hayley, who somehow had access to Chelsea and Naomi's test results and taunted Danny about them. Danny waved a hand. She didn't want to know what they said. Turned out Danny was just having a daymare, as Pamela put it. Gates does some of the best fantasy sequences, and it's always good to see Danny's ride or die. But I feel like there are more significant things for Pamela to do than actually co-sign Danny accepting support from Bill. This when she essentially told Bill where to stick it not long ago. When is their modeling agency going to open? Leslie's Schaus will be ready first. Back at the law firm, Hayley took Tomas's instruction to investigate Lynette's boss to mean looking into Lynette's credibility instead. She must have been sharing distraction cooties with Bill because he was not with it. Hayley was so mad afterwards about Bill taking off to Danny's that she told Danny she would soon be crying over his casket. Well, Val, you had your chance to make that happen last year already, but you botched it, and I can't quite figure her out. If Hayley's only interest in Bill is getting every penny out of him she can as his widow, why would she care if Bill was hovering around Danny? I know she told Randy before that it would take the focus off her being Bill's wife, but there's some definite mixed motivations going on. I have a hard time believing at this point that even such a specimen of masculinity as Bill wouldn't be feeling the slightest symptom from all that poison Hayley is pumping into his body. Not a bit of blurred vision, no elevated heartbeat, not even the occasional sneeze. Bunch of you got fooled by the preview where Bill told Hayley he wasn't going to drink any more of her poison. Ha! Not me! Not after watching soaps for 40 years! Yeah, they weren't going to spoiler Bill catching on to Hayley's scheme in a preview. As I predicted, Bill had simply been referring to Hayley's herbal tea as poison. Hayley laughed it off, then later left a message complaining to Randy about having to step things up. A directive that Tomas overheard outside the door. Good, because it's time we see this poisoning arc to a climax already. Not to mention, a reason why Hayley keeps acting jealous of Danny. She had to scramble with Bill after she casually told Danny that at least Bill would be there for their daughters should worse come to worst. Danny's daymare wasn't that far off, eh? Bill was pissed, and Danny yelped that he was always taking Danny's side. Speaking of sides, Hayley, pick one. Bill canceled his silent treatment of Hayley once he found out that, on his suggestion, Hayley had actually reached out to Naomi to offer sympathy about waiting on her test results. So does Hayley actually care about her former friend? About Bill? Or is all that just part of playing the devoted wife? As I said, it's time to move this Hayley story along to the next phase. It feels stalled to me. Ted turned a corner this week, after Andre advised him to get over himself where Carlton was concerned. That is, Carlton was surprised, and so was I, when Ted approached him and took some responsibility for their falling out, coming to the realization that Nicole was a single woman now and could go out with whomever she pleased. Ted all but gave Carlton and Nicole his blessing, and I'm glad because Ted being all butthurt was getting pretty old too. Not only did he F up by having a long-ago affair which produced a child, but his makeup game sucked donkey balls. It was high time for Ted to remove his tail from between his legs and feel his huevos there instead. And we finally see this happening. All thanks to a certain nurse's supervisor named Shanice. Encouraged by Ashley to bust a move on Ted, Shanice ran up on Dr. R with some chocolate ice cream. And before you could say Ben & Jerry's, she was using the frozen dessert as a seduction device. And it worked, because Ted was ready to give Shanice carpet burns for the first time right there in his office. Until he wasn't. Not to worry. It was for a good reason. Ted realized he'd been about to put dessert before dinner and asked Shanice to share that gift certificate package he'd won at Winterfest for that fancy restaurant, Obelisk. Shanice had at first been afraid that Ted wanted to go back to simply functioning as professionals, so she was glad he still wanted to date her. So flustered was she that later, Ashley noticed Shanice had her scrubs on inside out. Love it! Now we just need Niecy to find out Leslie is shagging Marcel so she can rub it in Leslie's face the next time she tries to step up on Ted. Anyway, Ted relayed the sad truth of Anita's cancer to Eva, who also was just hearing about Kat and her denial reaction to possibly carrying the BRCA mutation. Eva didn't want to, but she could tell how much it would mean to Ted if she tried to make peace with Kat again, so Eva gave it another try. Not that you didn't know Kat was so not going to be about it. Eva looked so hurt that even Kat seemed to notice, and Eva promised that, one day, Kat was going to need her. Only, when she did, Eva wasn't going to be there for her. Wonder what that breadcrumb meant. Eva followed by doing the only thing she does these days, which is hanging out with Isaiah. Don't get me wrong, I like Isaiah with Eva, and they might be possible now that they're venturing out of rebound territory, which would only stunt their relationship growth. But, well, Eva doesn't really have anything else to do anymore, and she's too dynamic a character to have so little happening. She needs to factor into Leslie finally getting justice. Imagine how deliciously conflicted she would be. Bring it! I know some people don't like to let grass grow under their feet, but damn! Lab Tech Grayson made his debut this week. The red carpet of his magic touch being rolled out ahead of him. Even Chelsea, after having gotten blood drawn from him, joked that the experience was the closest she'd come to a threesome since she gave those up for true love. Naomi was a first-class passenger on the Grayson train too, practically pushing Ashley down the aisle with a man she'd only just accepted a coffee date with. Things changed, though, when Grayson finally strode in and told the ladies that alleviating tension was his thing. Soon, Ashley was agreeing to Naomi's suggestion of a double date with her and Jacob, and soon after that, Ashley was inviting Grayson to her apartment. Seems all it took was Grayson taking note of how the booze bottles at Uptown were arranged by size instead of type. Y'all know Ashley loves that kind of detail, so I kind of get it. But he was so smooth with his line about Ashley's shape being sexier than the decanters that even she called him out on the tiredness of it. Not that that stopped her from being tired after pulling a Lionel Richie and doing him all night long. Yeah, she came into the hospital all blissed out the next day, telling the eager Shanice and Naomi that Grayson was basically a new ice cream flavor after she'd only ever had one variety before, and she couldn't wait to try his cone again. Grayson nearly set Garland's fire alarms off all on his own, flirting with Ashley in view of everyone, and telling her how good she looked in her scrubs. And out of them. Okay, we need to stop here. Because I am not getting the feeling that we're being set up for some grand Grayson-Ashley romance. Not when they boffed 10 minutes into one date, which we didn't even get to see. Then Ashley is all going on about new experiences, and Grayson looked ready to have at her again right there in front of the rest of the staff. No, I'm so far very much seeing these two just ending up as friends with Benny's. And that's perfectly all right, especially for this show. Ashley is still too fresh out of an engagement to jump right into another relationship. And of course, we only have 3 episodes of info about Grayson. So far, I think dude's a big himbo. Hey, Lady Killer Andre settled down. I guess someone had to fill his shoes. The one thing I truly don't get is, why bring in another high-profile soap vet so soon after Greg Vaughn's big entrance in December? If you count 2 episodes as big anyway. That's right. Kial appeared on December 8th and December 10th, and we haven't seen hide nor gray hair of him since. What was the point of adding Kial to the cast if he was just going to vanish and be sidelined by Grayson? Then there's Derek. After his portrayer Ben Gavin got cut from the opening credits, the general consensus was that we wouldn't be seeing Derek again. Hell, if that had happened on modern-day B&B, Derek would have been gone without an exit scene, and his very existence would never have received another mention. So it was good to see Derek striding into Uptown to see Jacob. He can walk. What the big ol' hunk can't do, however, is think. The sound waves of Jacob telling him that Ashley was seeing someone new had barely reached Derek's ears before he ran over to the hospital and happened upon lab tech Grayson trying to give Ashley an injection. Did Derek man up and remember that his days with Ashley are over? For real? You kidding? He followed Grayson into the elevator and pelted him with questions. I feel like Grayson saw through the reasons for Derek's "how do you know Ashley" queries, especially when Derek lied and only said he'd known Ashley for years, skipping the part about their romance. Next, Derek called Jan, of all people, and oh, oops, he just happened to mention that Ashley had traded his fire pole for someone else's. Is Derek over Ashley? Sure, Jan. Fellow Soap Central writer Lee mentioned his theory to me that Derek might be going to the dark side, and not only can I see the clues as well, it's an intriguing possible direction. We've already seen that Derek is plenty capable of lies and deception via his "oh, I still can't walk" shtick, and he's mega possessive, the way he was always marking his territory with Andre. Evil Derek is even medically possible. He already had a concussion and medical problems because a roof fell in on him, and I'm sure he banged his head when he fell off of that triathlon bike. Does Derek just want to make sure Grayson is good for Ashley, or is he priming up stalker mode? Either way, he needs to be made more interesting. Go dark, or move on with someone new. I know Ben Gavin can tackle a different acting challenge. The way Leslie wants to stamp her name on buildings, well, let's just say it reminds me of someone I'd rather not be reminded of. Nevertheless, she tried to stick to her guns about the Leslie Thomas outreach project when Joey wanted to have the clinic named after Doug instead. She figured out that Joey was doing that to please Vanessa and smirked that Van was the Bonnie to Joey's Clyde. If you only knew, Lulu, Joey didn't like Leslie even peripherally making fun of Vanessa and kidded that he'd had people killed for infractions far less egregious than even that. Leslie cooed that she liked to play with fire, but there was something in her expression that indicated to me she realized he was being serious. "Better step off, Leslie, or you'll end up in your own clinic." Does Samantha even care that her clinic is now completely out of her own hands, with no credit forthcoming? Anyway, Leslie next encountered Marcel, who hoped she had washed her hands of any further partnership with Joey. Finding out that she hadn't, more police-related innuendo ensued, to the point Marcel heaved that Leslie was either driving him crazy or to her place. Have we lost the thread here? When Marcel first tracked down Leslie, it seemed his plan was to sweet-talk her so he could extract a confession from her about twice trying to kill Laura. Now he only seems to be leading with his nightstick. And what of Miss Leslie? She wouldn't take a breath before unless it was for her Ted D. Today she's good with playing sit and spin in Marcel's lap. What's going on with these two? For those of you grossed out by watching older folks getting their groove on, gather up your ageism and take several seats. A whole stadium full of them. That's not my issue with the story. Marcel may be legit falling for Leslie, which would be a classic soap twist, but we need to see more than them in bed. Is all this an act on Marcel's part? Is Leslie onto him, or is she going to accidentally spill her tea? Let's get them wheels moving. As for Joey, he made the very smart move of going to Bill and asking him to somehow put protections in place to keep Leslie and her self-aggrandizing in line. I like it. Bill found it odd that Joey wanted to name the clinic after Doug, a man Joey had killed. Vanessa was overjoyed at the news, but Joey remembered Marcel's words about Joey making Mrs. McBride a widow. Is guilt starting to eat through Joey's veneer? June got another only June moment when Jessica sarcastically started ordering stuff like ratatouille, and June was all, "The hell?" The now housed woman could barely keep up. Once she found out Jessica was joshing, she requested that the teen order in English going forward, even though she had a hard enough time with that tongue. Classic. Jessica, for her part, was still roiling over the elitist nonsense of the cotillion. Tyrell really felt split down the middle. He tended to agree with Jessica's contention that the debutante stuff was as fake bougie as she maintained, but he couldn't not go to the ball because he had to be there to support Samantha. So what's a Deb to do? Jess decided that if Tyrell was going to be in attendance anyway, he might as well be her escort to the dad-burned thing.